Welcome back to Pack Talk Podcast, episode number 68. We've got Kevin, Chris, Lexi, Ben, and me, Chad. And today we're talking about some considerations or things to think about for you and your dogs during the holidays. And we know that the holidays can be extremely chaotic. And primarily we're talking about Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, although this episode will drop right after Thanksgiving. But you can use this in the future when you're talking about Thanksgiving or thinking about Thanksgiving. But Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, to me, those are the major holidays. We've also got 4th of July. That could be similar to New Year's because it's going to be a firework scenario, which we'll discuss at the end.
Or Tannerite.
Yeah, but what'd you say?
Or Tannerite.
Or Tannerite. Guns. Let's just say Kevin's really good about making a Tannerite concoction.
There you go. I was like,
don't say the word.
But the holidays can be very chaotic, right? So there's going to be gatherings and events that you go to. Your family and friends are going to be visiting. You might be going out of town to visit family and friends. There's going to be food. There's going to be parties. There's going to be large amounts of people. There's going to be concoctions, right? There's going to be probably some people stumbling.
Grandma? Oh, not that kind of stuff.
Eggnog around.
Too much eggnog.
Spiked eggnog.
There's going to be multiple dogs in the same house that normally aren't together. There's going to be fireworks. There's going to be other things going off depending on where you're at, who you hang out with. But all of this can be a recipe for anxiety and stress in our dogs and in us. So just think, if you go to a family gathering and maybe there's some tension in your family and you go to a family gathering, your stress level is going to be elevated. And so that's going to already elevate your dog's stress level before you're even there. So in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about some of these scenarios, some of the things that go on during the holidays, and some things that you can do to alleviate the anxiety, stress, and whatever else may be going on with you and your dog. So before we jump into it, I just want to go around the table real quick and get some of your favorite holiday traditions. Kevin.
Typically around Christmas, I'll do like a little Christmas villages.
I was going to say,
I'll put one up.
I thought you were going to say turkey.
Turkey. No, I quit
He
the
stopped
turkey.
the tradition
I quit
this
the
year.
turkey, cold turkey, boys.
So you like the villages, eh?
I like the villages.
You got one at your house?
I do. I haven't put it up yet,
I'll
but
have to come check it out.
I like add to it here and there, but I'm running out of room for all the crap.
You got a big village.
Yeah, it's like old. It was from when I was a kid, so everything's like porcelain. But when I go and like buy the new stuff, because I'll typically buy like one thing a year to throw in there, and you go to Lowe's, it's all like plastic and like crazy, so it just doesn't really fit. But I like them.
Yeah. Ben?
Best part is decorating.
You like
You're one of those guys, eh?
Oh, especially since I moved into my new house.
Oh my
I
God!
already have.
Are you serious?
Hey, I told my girlfriend. I said the dude across the street's got his lights up. We're on a deadline.
Neighbor Wars.
I'm not happy about
Neighbor Wars.
Neighbor Wars.
it.
Live action.
It got into me.
Do you have inflatables?
No, I am
Not
against.
yet.
I'm against inflatables because it's lazy.
It is lazy.
Oh, it's
Not if you put it into your overall decor setup.
Well, maybe if you got one, but the highlight is the light.
You know what else
gotta
is
put
lazy?
the lights
You can
up.
pay somebody to come and decorate your house now.
I get the pleasure out of doing it.
it takes too much.
You got a
time.
ladder?
Falling off the
Then
roof.
you got to take them down.
Don't need a ladder because Well, I'm not there yet. This is beginning stage.
You're building it
I'm
up.
a first-year
you can
homeowner.
crawl out of
okay?
You can crawl out of your second-story window to put them upstairs.
It goes to the cat's room.
All right, we'll have to come to Kevin's house to check out the village and come to your house to check out your
I'm
lights.
actually putting the tree up this weekend, maybe before the weekend. I was supposed to do it this past weekend.
Isn't that a law? You can't do it before Thanksgiving, though. Right? You got to do it after.
You
A
can.
law?
You can.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
putting up my
It's like
tree
an
this
unwritten
The
law.
tree is
I like the tree,
critical.
though.
The tree is critical.
Even a small tree, I like.
Although
to
the
decorate
issue
it.
is that
Oh,
the
it's a good
tree, my dogs, my cat, they like to chew on the branches.
I was going to ask how the cat does.
It's a
with the
fake tree, and they chew on the branches.
All right, Chris.
For me, it's the father-son camp out. I do it every year, day after Thanksgiving, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Did it as a kid for, I don't know, probably 20-something years now at this point.
I've been to these campouts before with my father
As
and
has
my
been.
brothers.
As has been.
I've been there.
There was a
crazy stuff happening.
yeah. One of the crazy things is that the Tiptons would be in their underwear running around.
I mean, yeah.
Why do I not remember this?
Yeah.
Matthew Tipton.
Yeah.
I always thought this
And
was a
then
Rangers
Josh
thing. This is a
Tipton
family
would burn
thing.
the underwear
It
in
was
the
a
fire.
Rangers thing. Yeah.
Josh Tipton would have his underwear on a stick, burning it in the fire.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Was
know.
trying to dry it?
Was that camp?
No, he'd burn it in the fire.
Was the father-son one of the ones where Josh, your brother, ate the 27
A whole case.
honey buns? He
Yes.
ate 27
He ate an
honey
entire
buns at
case
one time.
of honey buns,
That is
iced,
legendary.
In
glazed,
one sitting?
in one go.
One go.
One go. One.
He
Bro,
snuck
in
it
a matter
in.
of hours.
Stuffed his
He
pockets.
snuck it in. He got the box he hid in a trailer, and he ate it all.
Dude, you know how many calories?
Josh was a big boy back then.
He gained weight.
Big boy. He's a
He
big boy.
legit gained
Yeah.
weight
Yeah.
after
Slimmed
that.
down now. He's slim.
That's
He
got to
was-
be
I know,
like
but back then-
27,000 calories. dude.
Yeah, it was insane.
Dude,
Yeah.
He was in his teens.
legendary.
That's like
Yeah.
a week-long calorie
You know how
intake.
teenagers operate. They just eat a bunch of
And then
crap.
the sugar. I mean,
They're
I was
literally
surprised
fine.
he didn't go into like a diabetic coma.
By the way, quick shout out for Josh. If you need some pressure washing in the Charleston area,
He'll hook you
hit
up.
up Josh. What's the name of his company?
Precision.
Don't look at me.
Precision pressure washing, something like that.
No, that's
Chris
not
is
it.
looking at
It's
Ben
like shoot
it's
him,
his brother.
shoot him pressure washing or something.
Just,
His name's Josh.
Just
Josh
call Chris.
Tipton.
Just call Chris.
Just call us and we'll give you.
Call
his
us.
number.
We'll get
Call
you the
us,
info.
We'll give you his
Good
number.
to go. He's good to go for pressure
If
washing.
you need pressure washing, I have him come at least twice a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he comes to you, he comes to me because we're next door. So.
So anyway, your tradition is the
Father-son
father-son
camp out. Yep. So like my brothers don't do it as much, but my dad still definitely does it. I'm there, and then now I've got Jackson. Nicholas will probably maybe another year and a half.
He's
2
not
years.
going this year. It's the father-son camp out.
I
You
mean,
have to take your son
he's like a month old.
and
It's a little
put
chilly
him into
for
the elements. It is cool.
It's like
Maybe next year. Maybe next year. I
The
think
White
Jackson was
Walkers
2.
in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's
Just
that
lay
would
him
be
out
him if
as
you
a
took
sacrifice to the White Walkers. Yeah. I think Jackson was 2 years old when he did his first one. So
Yeah, I
but
mean, if they're any younger than that, I mean, because you're looking at creating memories.
yeah.
They're not going to remember until they're
Yeah.
like 4 or 5, right?
Get him in the elements.
I mean, you do. You definitely want them to be cold and dirty.
Yeah.
You know, eating honey buns.
Father-son campouts, some of the things I remember from those is one of them, it's so cold when you wake up to
Yeah.
take a piss in the middle of the night.
Miserable.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Yeah.
And then
I just
also
keep one of these suckers right here next to my cot.
banana.
Little bottle.
Little water bottle.
Little
Yeah.
water bottle. Pee
Oh,
in the
yeah.
bottle. Cap it off. Good to
Then
go.
another memory is Chris Huss and Andrew Halter staying by the campfire all night.
All night. They don't do that anymore.
Just sitting there talking.
Yeah, Huss is he's early. He's early. He used to wake up early too and get
Yeah.
the coffee going for you.
Oh, yeah. Nah,
Nah, he's retired. He's
Really? He's not first
he's
man
in
up?
bed early and he sleeps in.
He's
he
not
sleeps
first
in.
man up now. That's
Nah.
crazy.
and the other thing I remember is Randy Evans with the radio and the setup to listen to the games,
Oh,
the football
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Oh, Clemson Carolina
And-
weekend. That's
and
why.
Randy
Oh, yeah.
Evans
Clemson
having the
coaches
the
game
heaters, the
Yep.
heaters in his tent.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cheaters.
All right. Anyway, Lexi.
I don't have any crazy major traditions just for Christmas.
Your favorite.
You,
I
you
mean-
travel
What's your
across the
favorite
country.
part of the
Well, I was
holidays?
gonna say just for Christmas, I try to go around Christmas time to visit my family since I've moved here. But I guess that was only like something started 3 years ago.
A new
A
tradition.
new
That's
tradition.
tradition.
And now it's
Yeah.
a tradition.
You
Well,
do it
yeah,
3 years in
yeah.
a row.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically.
So
a
now it's a
tradition.
tradition. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I would say.
Good to go. I like food.
I love food.
I like cookies.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I like Thanksgiving food better than Christmas food.
Hey, there is one thing.
It's
that-
kind of
Christmas
the
food
same.
is more sweet.
It's kind of the same for my family. We do the same stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
There is one thing that I look forward to at Christmas time is our mom, me and Chad's mom, makes molasses cookies.
Oh, you like
Mm.
those?
They are
good.
literally crack cocaine.
That
Bro,
sounds.
It's a
delicious.
cracker
Bro,
with molasses.
once a
on it.
year. Once a year type shit.
I'm pretty sure. That's it. I'm pretty sure.
Is
Isn't
it
that
cracker
what
with
it
some
is?
syrup on
It's
it?
a cracker with molasses on it.
No. Wait, a cracker? No,
Yes,
they're
I'm pretty
actual
sure.
cookies, bro. They're
Oh,
like
it's
you
a
could squish
cookie?
them. The little brown ones, and they
yeah.
got the white icing on top.
I think the inside is a cracker.
There's no
Well,
crack.
Miss,
There's
Miss
no
Debbie,
crunch.
if you're
There's
listening,
no
I think we
Gotta
all need to
ask
partake in
the,
that. You probably
Yeah,
should
we
make
might-
us a batch this
actually,
year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They are addictive, though. All right. Anyway, so good to go with that. All right. So let's just go through some possible plans that people could have for the holidays. So we talked about Lexi traveling, Chris traveling, going to his camp out, Kevin having his village, Ben having his decor and his Christmas trees. One comment about the decor is too much. I hate putting it up, taking it down.
I haven't done it
That's
in
on
years.
you.
My wife loves it.
Well, you live
She
out in the
loves
country.
it.
You ain't got no one to show
Doesn't
your
matter.
property
Doesn't
off
matter.
to.
The ladies like it. They still want to decorate. I'm like, hey, nobody even can see us from the driveway, from the road. Don't care. I can see it.
Yeah, well, it's for you.
So,
It's
okay,
for you.
so I got to spend hours putting lights up because you want to see it.
And then you still got to take him to James Island.
yeah, you still got to go see the lights.
Hey, we don't.
Let's
we don't
talk
go.
about the worst
That's
thing.
That's a no-go. That's a
During
no-go.
Christmas time.
Oh,
James Island lights.
Man, don't get me going.
All right, we're not allowed to talk about that. Anyway, so bunch of different things going on. So if you have a dog, some considerations, right? So traveling with the dog, driving a long distance, there's going to be certain considerations that you need to have in place for that. If you're going camping with your dog, certain considerations for that. Just having decorations up in your house, Kevin's Village, we don't want your dog trampling on that.
Oh, my God.
You know?
His tail's going to knock something off.
Ben's tree with the cats and dogs, right? So give me a couple things that are going through your head, Kevin, with your decorations up with your dog around the holidays. We're not even talking about people coming over yet.
Right.
We're just talking about setting up your house with your dog.
I mean, I set it up with him in mind. You know what I mean? So I try to make it, cause
So are you adjusting to him?
well, so we work together. It's a symbiotic relationship.
It's balanced. It's balanced.
Because I know that tail is deadly, right? Because
He's got a whipper of a tail.
I get caught with it about once a week in an area that is not enjoyable. So typically when if I do a village, and this is my first time in this home that I live in now, but I usually put it to where it's not going to be, easily accessible by like a tail. If I'm playing around with him in the house or whatever, or we're just doing stuff, he's just meandering around. I don't want something to happen. But also I do a lot more like management around that time too, set some boundaries. If he goes over there and starts, messing with stuff, obviously I'm going to tell him no, send him to spot, correct him for it, whatever the case may be. So he knows that is off limits when it comes out.
Yeah.
Now, people who put up like a lot of decorations in their home, like what I'm thinking, like if I put up a tree, I don't think I did one last year, he's probably going to be a little weirded out by it. So I got to introduce
new
it to
things
him.
in the house.
Right. Got to introduce it to him
the new things
properly,
in the house, yeah.
which we talked about in previous podcasts. But basically just doing some positive stuff around there. At the end of the day, though, he's pretty good with coping with things like that in the environment. So
Just give me a quick example of how you're going to introduce to new things in the house. What are some things you could do?
Yeah, so I'm going to start doing some like engagement around it, wherever I found that he's interacting with me, rewarding him around it just to maintain a positive association. I'm also not going to allow him just to like bombard it right when I bring it out. He's going to be on spot. He's going to be managed during this time. So he understands what I'm doing is a boundary. It's a respect thing. But I'm just going to make everything a very positive association with him just so there's no like leering things, right? So if your dog is kind of shying away from what's going on, well, you don't want your dog to be uncomfortable, so we want to work him through it. Best way for my dog personally is going to be food and interaction, and he gets accustomed to things super fast, so no problem there.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, kind of just same line with Kevin. Normally spot, best thing to do at least when you're setting up, put your dogs on spot. If your dog doesn't know spot, just put them in the kennel for a little while you set up, while you put your tree up, and then you can. Normally, I let them just inspect the new environment, whether it be a tree, if furniture was adjusted or whatever. Let them get a sense of the new environment, and then just if they're showing any signs of weirdness or like it's going to be an issue, I'll address it that way. Do engagement or whatever. I'll put them in a downstay next to it just to get used to it, or just put them on spot. Yeah, I mean, normally my dogs don't go too crazy, but if they're like chewing on the branches and stuff on the Christmas tree, I'm gonna
the ornaments, the glass,
glass
balls.
That has happened. Yeah. They've knocked ornaments off, broken them.
Oh yeah,
which is not a good situation if they're not, my ornaments. If they're girlfriend's ornaments or your wife, I think one of them last year was JoJo or Ara. I don't remember which one had either knocked it off or actually pulled it off and like crunched it up. But it was like one of those, this is from my family, from like 10, one of the super valuable ones where it's like baby's third Christmas or something, or first Christmas.
No.
And
let's just say hang your ornaments higher.
Yeah,
on the
hang
tree.
the ornaments a little bit higher.
You got to put the good ones up top.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's what I do for ornaments. All my ornaments are that. Like we don't get the generic stuff. It's just been saved over years, so it's all like sentimental ornaments.
I hang mine high in the tree for my kids. Because the kids are pull the whole tree down.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. But I mean, you got to set your boundaries. So if they start messing with the tree, tell them no, correct them. So
what about the cat?
However. The cat is a little bit harder. I got a spray bottle.
Yeah,
I'll spray them with the spray bottle, but Cats with the trees, I don't know what
Yeah,
they
you
want to
don't
go
even-
up inside
Yeah.
the tree.
That's the thing. You won't even know he's in there till you see the
The
eyes
cat's
looking
harder
out
to
of-
deal with than a dog. Yeah, the cat's harder. To
I
deal
saw
with.
I saw a picture. It was like the new Christmas tree for cats, and it was literally like all the branches were shaved off. It was just the
yeah.
just the
Oh,
stem of
really?
the tree with a star on the top.
It's just gonna do a scratch and post with a star.
All right,
Good.
Chris, camping scenario. People traveling for the holidays, camping. A lot of people do that kind of stuff. What are some considerations with dogs?
I mean, to me, camping works better for me. So like versus like traveling to stay in a hotel, you got to make a lot more considerations. For me, camping, you're pretty active for the most part. I do take some naps when I'm camping around the fire, but
That's part of camping.
that's
huh?
part of camping
That's part of
for sure.
Midday nap
But I
in
mean,
the hammock.
Vader, my dog Vader, does get a little stressed. You know, like we're just taking him out of his normal routine, taking him out of his environment. But we always just rely on our foundation of training. We go hiking. We're active, so we're moving, doing things, holding him to expectations and boundaries. I got a spot with me. You know what I'm saying? So like that's a clear expectation, something that he knows. So even though he's initially showing some signs of stress, I hold him to those normal expectations that we do day in and day out, and he calms down relatively quickly. Now he won't poop for 3 days, which is a normal stress behavior for
He
him.
keeps it all in.
He keeps it in
He's
for 3
still
days.
eating.
3 days. Oh yeah, still eats his food. He ain't gonna not eat food, but yeah, we get home and then massive dump.
I was like, I wonder how relieving that is to
Yeah.
him.
So that's just like it's just stress. He holds it in. That's just like his thing. But he does calm down and he's fine. So us staying active, and by the time we're done with like a hike or something like that, he's pretty chill. So
What if you
nothing
camp for
crazy.
5 days? Would he let it go?
Yeah, he would. Yeah,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
done longer camping.
3 days
so
is
he's-
the hold in.
Yeah,
time.
he
That's
gets
the
to a point
threshold.
because he's still bringing it in. You know what I'm saying? He'll eat, and then everybody. So like it's a big group that's camping, so everybody's giving him
Oh, yeah.
scraps and stuff. Hey, here's a steak or whatever. So like he's getting some food, and yeah, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's coming out whether you like it or not. So
What about sleeping in the tent at nighghttime? Anything you do for that?
I'll bring a
special?
kennel. I bring a kennel
Oh, you
just
bring a
because
kennel.
like one time.
Wire kennel.
Yep, standard
Yeah.
wire collapsible kennel. The last year or the year before we did some shooting, so we went to like the firearms range, which was not far from the campsite, and he gets stressed with that kind of stuff. So I'll just put him in the kennel, and so now I'm with my family having a good time. We're shooting firearms and stuff, and he's just kind of dealing with that in the kennel.
Yeah.
So I will bring a kennel. Sleeping at nighttime, I leave it open so he can go in the kennel or maybe jump up in the cot with me, keep me warm because it's like 20 degrees. So.
All right, Lexi. Considerations: driving across the
Yeah.
country, halfway across the country.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's, a 16-hour drive, so obviously there's some, considerations you want to have, especially bringing your dogs. A couple of major things, obviously, you're going to want to, before you're getting in the car for 16 hours, give some exercise, the mental, physical stimulation for your dog before you're traveling. And then, of course, whenever you stop for gas, potty breaks, maybe do some more training, spend some time with your dog just on the way there. Still, since it is going to be different for them, not every day they go get in the car for 16 hours. Definitely keeping things, training consistent, holding them to expectations, in the car, still doing a downstay in the vehicle. Maybe you let them sit up for, a couple minutes, maybe an hour if you want them to get some other movement besides laying down, but primarily, downstay in the vehicle. Now getting there, of course, that's also going to be another thing because now you have lots of people that your dog has never met. My sister, for example, has another dog too. So that's, one, like Chad said, a dog that he's not normally around. So there's going to be some, major considerations whenever you show up. It's not just, hey, everyone goes into the house, dog included. Now there's bombarded by people, dog, other things like that. So it's, getting him used to, even though he did meet the dog last year, and this is what we did last year too. But, obviously he hasn't seen the dog in a year. It's not, necessarily a familiar face to him right off the bat. So, even just taking a walk right when you first get there, he's also getting used to, okay, now that, my sister, her husband, everyone's, kind of in the picture before even, entering a home, things like that. But of course, during like family gatherings, lots of, people over, things like that. If your dog wants to be on, a spot, have them on spot. If your dog's more comfortable in the kennel, just bring a kennel, have them, comfortable in their kennel. Consider their comfortableness too.
Yeah.
You taking the truck this year?
I think so.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
traveling in style now, boys.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I think so.
Most reliable vehicle to take.
Oh really?
Well, over the Subaru, he's saying.
Oh.
Yeah, over the
Well,
Subaru.
yeah.
So I recently took a trip to Disney World with my family and my dogs. So I'll just talk about some of the things I did for that trip, and it's not 16 hours. It was a 6-hour drive.
That's a very capable CRV though.
The CRV is good to go, boys. and it drives itself.
To be clear, you, your wife, 2 girls,
Yes.
2 Dobermans,
2 Dobermans.
and Sarabi.
So what we did is we got one of the rooftop car carriers. We got the Thule Motion XXL, the
Thing's
biggest
nice.
one you can get. That thing's banging. So if you guys are ever taking a road trip and you need it, use it, because that thing makes your car. Basically, we got that so that the dogs could have the trunk space to themselves, the 2 Dobermans, right? So we put all the luggage up there. We ended up coming back with more luggage, so we had to, finagle, because you go to Disney World, you got to buy some things.
Yep.
So anyway, we had the 2 Dobermans in the very back of the CRV, which is a mid-size SUV, and so they're big, right? And so what would happen was Bane would lay down, and I just let them do whatever. They didn't have to lay down. They could sit, whatever's comfortable. But Bane would lay down and take up the majority of the space, so Georgia would be standing awkwardly for a while. Then she would try to jump into the middle seat with the girls, and she'd ride there for a little bit. But the car setup was the Dobermans had the back, the girls had the back seat with their car seats, and they had their entertainment stuff, books, coloring books, all that. Sarabi was up front with me and Lauren because she's a smaller dog, and all the stuff in the roof rack. So that was our travel arrangement. And the other thing about this roof rack cargo carrier is I got the biggest one because it holds our travel kennels. And we have 2 Midwest camping kennels. I think they're called tent kennels, but basically you guys can look them up on Amazon. But it's 2 collapsible canvas type kennels. They have a wire frame in there that collapses differently than regular wire frames, but the outside is canvas and it has a zipper door. So we got those, got Primo pads for the inside, so they were set up in there. But this cargo carrier fit those, right? So it was perfect because they're big dogs. They need the taller kennel. So got everything in there. We got that roof rack carrier for that main purpose. And before we left, I did my morning routine with the dogs, walked, exercised them, trained them, all that kind of stuff. On the way there, my plan was to stop every 2 hours. Everybody take a break, let the dogs walk for a little bit. But on the road trip, it became chaos. Someone's got to pee. 30 minutes down the road, someone else has to pee.
There's a McDonald's.
And it's not me.
Got to stop at the McDonald's.
There was a Wendy's we stopped at.
Oh, nice.
And so, anyway, all these extra stops started adding up. And me, I'm like, I want to go. I want to beat the GPS.
You're saying you didn't have to pee every 30 minutes?
I peed like halfway through.
Oh, okay.
But I also regulate my liquid intake for road trips. I'm prepared for it. So I ended up taking the dogs out of the car one time instead of multiple times while we were at Wendy's, and I let them walk around a little bit. They were off leash because I have my recall. I have my communication. And then I put them in a downstay outside of Wendy's, and people are like, "Are those your dogs?" And they're freaking out. I'm like, "Yeah, those are my dogs. Leave me alone." And trying to get my Wendy's. Here's a card. And so anyway, got to the Airbnb in Florida, took the dogs out. First thing I did, put them in a downstay in the house. We moved everything in. Then I took them out to the little yard area, so I basically showed them around. And then I walked them a little bit that evening. And then basically the routine every day, because at Disney World, you're at Disney World every day, all day. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I got up early, like I normally do, not as early as normal. But I did get up at I think I was getting up at 5. I'd get up, brush my teeth, go outside with the dogs, walk the dogs. So I took the dogs out, walked them. The neighborhood was super small, so I basically walked back and forth down 2 streets for 30 minutes to walk them. And then we would go to Disney World, be gone all day, come back. I'd do something in the evening with them, whether it be walking, or a couple times I drove them to a construction site, threw the ball for them. And so that was kind of what I did every day with them. And it's fair because we're giving them the exercise and training that they need. What's not fair is if you're not doing that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So if they're in the kennel from, let's say we would leave the house about 7 a.m. and sometimes we would get back, 4 to 6 p.m., right? So, I mean, that's a long time. And they're in the house, whatever, not a big deal, because before and after, I'm making sure their needs are met. You know what I'm saying? And I did run out of dog food, so I had to source it locally, which there's a store locally that had some food, so I went there, got that food. So no factor, right? Got them some bully sticks too.
Nice.
So anyway, that was our trip. On the way back, same setup in the car, except we had more stuff because the girls bought some princess stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And some balloons. They had some balloons, which I couldn't see out the windows because balloons, But anyway, no factor, same routine. And good to go. So that's what we did, worked for us. And you can travel with your dog. It's not that hard. You just got to make sure that you're allocating time for what they need to satisfy their needs, which means you might have to get up earlier, right, to make sure you get to walk them.
You might have to put in some work.
You might have to do something after Disney World where you're walking all day in Disney World, chasing your kids around, doing this. If you've ever been there, you know it's crazy, right? And so then after the day's over, you're tired, and so you still got to make sure you take care of your dog. So no big deal traveling with them if you're going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, some things to think about if you're like visiting family or if you have family visiting you during the holidays. Remember, you probably all can envision that house where there's more people than normal, more dogs than normal, all in a combined area. So some things you got to think about with your dog specifically is, you know, is your dog a social dog? Is your dog happy-go-lucky, meaning they're cool with everybody, they're friendly with everybody, nothing really phases them, they're just hanging out? Or do you have a dog that's selective? They don't like certain dogs, or they don't like certain people, or certain types of dogs or people, right? Or are they not a fan of strange people? Or, you know, do big crowds stress them out? Lots of energy stress them out, right? So if you're visiting or if you're being visited, having your equipment, like we talked about, is going to benefit you. So Chris mentioned he's taking his pet cot camping, right? And his kennel. You know, when I traveled, I had the collapsible kennels. So if I'm traveling somewhere, I can set up this equipment and use it to my advantage. Like if I'm at my family's house at a holiday gathering, I can put my dog in the kennel because they'll be comfortable in there. It's their safe place. That they know that as long as I've trained that, you know, and then I can intermingle with the family when they may not be comfortable with all those people moving around, right? Or if your dog's super social and it doesn't matter, your dog can be in the mix as well, right? But if you're visiting your family and they have a dog that's dog selective, maybe you have your super social dog in the kennel anyway to be respectful of being in their house. Or maybe they put their dog away to be respectful to their guests. You know, it kind of depends. You're going to have to figure out and balance that out. But you need to know your dog, know your dog's personality and characteristic traits, and make sure that you're adjusting to make it as least stressful as possible. You know what I'm saying? So that's just some considerations you need to know about, is what are your dog's characteristic traits? What are their preferences? What are some things that may make them uncomfortable, or what things make them comfortable? You know what I'm saying? Do you guys have any input on that topic?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think people for some reason just freak out about using the kennel as a tool. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to kennel my dog. I mean, I think if we're doing all the things you're talking about, giving them what they need, or even let's just say we can't. Let's say we can't walk them, which you can, right? Let's be real, you can. But let's just say
you can do something,
right? You can do something. Like that's just an excuse to say you can't. But let's just hypothetically say you literally don't have the time for it or whatever. This is like a period. This is a quick period where we got to have family over, right? So like, they can be a little bit pent up. They might get a little bit pent up. Keep them in the kennel so that there's no negative experiences happening when family leaves. We go back to our normal routine. Now, yes, ideally we want to give them everything that they need, but like we deal with this a lot of times when people are like, I have to board my dog at this boarding facility or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Which can be chaos for a dog. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I tell them, like, it's better in this situation, it's better for them to just stay in the kennel, be let out tell the staff to let them out for a potty break, put them back in the kennel, versus just cutting them loose in this play area with all these chaotic dogs and having a bad experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in some situations, like, people freak out about kenneling your dogs for a long period of time. This is a short period of time. We got to get through the holidays. I want to spend time with my family. Yes, ideally give your dogs what they need, but let's just remember, like, they're going to be okay in the kennel. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know.
Or if you have the spot, like you said, just put them on the pet cot for a while.
For
Not
sure.
a big deal. But like if you have little kids running around and they go to jump all over your dog, maybe your dog's not a fan of that. That's another consideration you have to factor in.
Well,
right?
and you have to like, I think you depending on what level you are in training, you got to watch your dogs too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So like, there are times where I absolutely let my dogs mingle. There's times where I keep them on spot, and then there's times, like recently I had my son's birthday, had some people over, and I put them up. I'm engaging.
Well, you did let them out.
I did let
clean
them
the
out.
floor because the kids dropped some cupcakes on the floor.
You got to clean the floor somehow. But for the majority of the night, like, I'm engaging in conversation with people. I'm tending a fire. I'm going over to the jump castle. I'm fighting with Jackson with his birthday presents. Right? It's like I'm engaging in other things, and I'm not like watching the dogs. So I just put them up. I literally just put them in the guest bedroom that I have, and they hang out, right?
Yeah.
So and then I just let them out afterwards. So it's not mean.
But your
at all.
chickens were intermingling with the crowd.
The chickens were free roaming. They were free roaming.
Well, that's one thing people need to consider too, because like even when you take your dog to I usually take Zdana to like my mom's house, like Christmas Eve. My focus is him, right? Staying in downstate, controlling my environment. If I feel like I'm going to be busy, I'm not going to bring him. You know, your dog doesn't have to go everywhere with you. You know what I mean? They're perfectly fine staying at home. But I think a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, my dog's good to go, and then they just cut them loose. And you got a lot of factors at play. You know what I mean? One, if it's a lot of people, we're talking different elevations of stress level in the dog. A dog that may normally allow people to interact with him may reach out to that dog. Now they're nipping, right? Because you lost control of the environment. You know, so that is a huge consideration, especially for people who don't have training behind them. You know, you taking your dog into these scenarios, realize that you're not setting them up for success unless you have that control aspect.
Right. Yeah. I like how you said, you know, you take them, but sometimes maybe if you know you're going to be busy, you don't take them. Yeah. So I think some people become to the point where my dog always has to be with me, and you got to be careful about that. You got to have that healthy separation. Right. You know, your dog needs to be able to have the capability to, yes, be with you and be managed and, you know, flow with you in a different environment, but also just be left home or left in the hotel room or left in the tent in the kennel or whatever, and be okay. Yeah. So having that healthy separation in place is going to allow you to have that flexibility. But again, you know, it's fair because you're taking care of your dog's needs. Right. Yeah. You've done your due diligence, making sure your dog's good to go in a kennel. Right. So like one of the things I did before my trip, I knew that at Disney World, my dogs were going to be in the kennel for long periods of time during the day. So I prepped them for that at home by starting to have them do longer periods of time in the kennels we were going to use on the trip. I set them up in the house, had them in there for longer periods of time during the day to get them used to that before we even left. Right. So it's also thinking ahead and knowing like, hey, what's my setup going to be? And let me try to simulate that to the best as possible before we even get to where we're going, if you're traveling. Or if you know that people are coming to your house and you know that there might be guests staying in your house for a couple days, well, no one's going to be using that room because the guests are going to be in that room. Let me get these dogs used to having less of free range that they normally might have. You know what I'm saying? So all those different types of things are things that you need to think about and prepare for and be flexible with and be able to operate with.
And try to minimize the impact on them as much as possible, you know, because it's just stress related. And it's a relationship thing too. Don't get me wrong. My dog loves going anywhere that I choose to take him. Yeah. But especially at this point, you know, I don't really utilize a kennel at this point. Yeah. He's perfectly fine sleeping on the couch while I'm out doing my thing too. So big relationship thing. But I like what you did with the kennels because, we're minimalizing stress at that point. Because not only are they going to be in a new environment, they haven't been in these kennels since, you know, the last time you may have traveled or whatever. Right. So you're building up good repetitions so that we're minimalizing the impact on them. Because, now they're in a new environment, but hey, this is something familiar I've been practicing. So that's good to keep in mind.
Yeah. So, you know, Chris brought it up, boarding your dog at a boarding facility, some pros and cons, right? Because a lot of people, they travel, they board their dogs when they're traveling. You know, we offer that service for our alumni, although we do run out of room. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So,
especially for the holidays.
When the dogs are with us, you know, because we're a boarding training facility, we're doing training. We're doing routine with them, right? So it's very structured. It's with the dog's best interest in mind. But if you go to a boarding facility, a traditional one, when they're all over the place, you know, I know that Chris has worked there in the past. So at a boarding facility, in general, you got the dogs in a little area, right? At nighttime, they're not in a specific kennel. It's just like a area.
So I'm sure everybody's different. The one that I worked at, the dogs would have their own individual kennel to sleep in. Now, sometimes you would have like dogs, like let's say you came and brought your 3 dogs, they would be able to fit in one kennel together. So all 3 of them would stay together, right? So like everybody sleeps in their own individual kennel, but then we would have like a bunch of these 20 by 20 play areas. And so we would just test if the dogs were compatible, right? By what? Just letting them come face to face, right? Letting dogs meet the face. Oh, cool, nothing happened. They're good to go. Now we just throw them into this play area. So now we got 2 dogs in this 20 by 20. We grab another dog and we just throw them in there, right? And we're like, okay, things are going, and the dogs are playing. And like we would have from what I remember, we could have like 3 people on a shift, right? And it'd be, we'd have a morning shift and an evening shift, and you'd have 3 people on one shift. We've had as high as 80 dogs at one time. 80 dogs in one like warehouse boarding facility with 3 people manning 80
That's
dogs.
a lot of potty rounds.
Yeah, well,
no, they don't do
potty.
that.
You open the kennels and all the dogs run, and you just open the back door, right?
Yeah.
So like now they're playing and getting into fights and all that kind of stuff, and like it's just chaos. It's utter chaos. And if dogs get into a fight, like you just like try to dump a mock bucket of water on them to try to split it up, right? Like it's just. And the big thing is like we just weren't qualified to deal with that kind of stuff.
Right.
We can't read dog body language. We can't, and nothing against boarding facilities, and I'm not saying that all of them across the board don't know this, but a lot of them are high schoolers, people that just need a college job, and like this is just not like they're not reading dog body language. They don't truly understand what's going on. We're just throwing dogs into this chaos and hoping it works out, right? And so it's not the best, in my opinion, it's not the best situation to send your dog into. So I'm not saying, and I've told my clients, like, I'm not saying to not board, but you need to be asking questions and maybe put in some stipulations. Like we did have dogs that would come. I remember we had a couple of like police officers that would bring their dogs, and they would have stipulations like, hey, look, just put my dog in the kennel, take it out for potty, put it back in the kennel. Don't let it interact with other dogs. Don't put it in a play area. We're like, oh, what? Are you sure? You just want it to sit in the kennel all the time? They're like, yeah, it's fine. And it is fine. So like I will tell if a client hits me up and we're full or whatever, and they're like, well, hey, we're looking at this facility. I'm like, look, I don't know anything about that facility, but I'm going to probably call and say, hey, can we make sure my dog's not going to be in a play area? Can they not interact with other dogs? Can they just be taken out on a leash for a potty break and put back in their kennel? Again, it's going to go back to, yes, they're not going to get what they need, but we're talking about short period of time. Once I get back from out of town, I pick them up, we go right back into our routine.
Yeah. You got to really vet those places too.
For sure.
There's a lot of higher end ones now where you can actually like log in and see the camera, like watch your dog, which is good because it's transparent. But how the hell did y'all corral 80 dogs back into the kennel with 3 people?
Dude,
how long did that take?
I mean, I don't remember. It was just chaos.
All right, let's get these 3. Come on, guys, back.
Yeah, I mean, you just let them all in. They're just running around, playing, doing their stuff, and like you just grab whatever one you can. All right, I got one that goes in that kennel. All right, get the next one. And I mean, it didn't actually take that long. Like if you think from what we do, the structure that we have takes longer. You're taking each dog out individually. But again, you got like while we're doing that, you got dog fights breaking out. You got dogs peeing and pooping on stuff. You got it's just chaos. You know what I'm saying? It's like can't be controlled.
So the cons of that are the dog, that are there. They can be stressed, more so than if they were traveling, or more so if they were with you in a kennel at the place you're staying at. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, it is going to be better just to have your dog go with you. And someone made a comment about me taking my dogs to Disney World. They're like, don't you run a dog training business? Just why don't you use your own service? And I'm like, because I'm taking my dogs with me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do. If I can. Obviously, if you're flying or something, there's going to be more limitations on that.
Cruise.
Depending on where you're going.
Some people like cruises.
Some people.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just some thoughts on those types of scenarios. Other dogs, Lexi mentioned other dogs at her holiday time traveling. So, and I've talked to a lot of people about this. Doing proper introductions is going to be critical. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that when you arrive to your destination, try to set it up to where you can walk your dog or do some kind of exercise before you start intermingling too much with people. Maybe leave your dog in your car, you go in, you greet your family, you kind of hang out with them for a little bit, then you go out, you walk your dog, or you play fetch with your dog, or tug with your dog, or whatever. And then the dog that you're introducing to, right, you can walk with them, ideally, and then, allow them to meet with each other, sniff each other, get used to the visual of each other, and go through the proper introduction protocols before you just let them free roam together. And then whenever they are free roaming together, monitoring, being able to recall your dog away from the other dog if you need to, right? Providing structure if you need to. So that needs to be something that you factor in. Or if you have people visiting you, do them a favor before they arrive. Smoke your dog. Get your dog tired. That way when they come into your house, or if they're bringing a dog before they come to your place, your dog's already mentally and physically exhausted, and that's going to help the introduction with them go smoothly versus 2 dogs that are full of energy, and now we have different scenarios and factors going on. You know what I'm saying? Some things popped ahead whenever you're remaining in place, people coming to visit you. Try to keep your daily routine as close to normal as possible, right? So if you've got visitors coming into town, still do your walks with your dog, still do your training with your dog, still do your normal routines as much as possible. Obviously, we've already talked about a little bit more kennel time when you have visitors and all that. So you do your morning routine, and then maybe your dog's going to be in the kennel for the majority of the day, right, while you're doing family or friends stuff, right? Or like me going to Disney World, my dogs are in the kennel while I'm at Disney World, but I'm exercising them before and after, right? So meet your dog's basic needs, walk them, exercise, do training, keep your routine as close as possible, but adjust it slightly as you need to, you know, get your holiday stuff done or your traveler, your visitor stuff done. You know what I'm saying? If you have people bringing other dogs to your place, have you given them any rules and boundaries to your visitors and their dogs? Maybe you could say something like, hey, I've got an extra kennel. Let's have your dog use a kennel at nighttime or when you're not here, right? Or during the day, we'll let my dog roam around for a little bit, then we'll let your dog roam around for a little bit. If the dogs, you know, have a tendency to try to dominate each other or get into fights or clashes or whatever.
Murphy.
What?
Murphy.
Oh, yeah. So those kind of things, you know what I'm saying? So set up some rules and boundaries before your visitors even get there, right? Supply equipment to them if you can, right? If you can't, and maybe they're able to bring their own kennel or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Ask them if their dog's wandering around the house. Maybe they don't have training. Hey, can you keep a leash on your dog? That way if your dog gets into something that is not supposed to, we can grab the leash and stop the dog from digging through the trash or jumping on the counter, which I don't let my dogs do. You know, maybe your dog's not able to do that. You know, you just have to have that conversation. And it shouldn't be like a negative conversation. It's just an understanding like, hey, I want you to come to my house and to my place. I want you to bring your dog, but we have some rules. These are some things that I do. See, these are some things that I would appreciate you doing. Maybe I'll just keep my dog in the kennel while you're over, and your dog can hang out, whatever, but can we keep a leash on it so that we can manage it if we need to? You know what I'm saying? Do you guys have any other thoughts about you're staying at your house, people are traveling to you, maybe they're bringing a dog?
I mean, I would say on the expectations note, doesn't just apply if somebody's bringing a dog, but like your visitors just in general. You know what I'm saying? Like goes back to what you were talking about. Know your dog, know your dog's personality, what they like, what they don't like, right? I know my dog's going to be anxious, even if it's just, even my dog's going to get excited when my company's going to come over. Maybe I'm just setting a simple rule like, hey, my dogs are going to be on spot. When you guys come over, my dog's going to freak out a little bit, but can you just ignore them for a little bit, and then I'll let them get off spot and say hi to you guys. I just don't want them jumping on people, right? Because grandma's coming, and I don't want her to get knocked down my porch, or you know what I'm saying? I don't want the kids to get pawed in the face or something. Whoa! I don't want a kid to get pawed in the face or something because the dog's excited to see him, right? So like let them chill out and calm down. Like these are the rules that we have, and like what I have found with my family, some family members can respect that. Some can't, right? So like I'm learning now, I'm gonna control the environment like Kevin mentioned, right? So like when the family members that can't follow my rules come over, my dogs are gonna just be up, right? So like they're just they're where's the dogs? Well, you know they're hanging out in the room or whatever. Like if you can't follow the rules and boundaries that I put in place, then I'm gonna still control the environment, right? So like those rules don't just apply to people bringing dogs, but to people over. Know your dog, know what's gonna be best for them, and do what's in their best interest.
Yeah, or if you know the house is going to be super crowded, maybe you have your dogs put away while everybody's in the house. But if you're like Chris and you have a fire in your backyard, maybe when everybody goes outside or a couple people go outside, that's when the dogs can come out because there's more space for people to move around instead of there being congestion or anything like that in the house. You know what I'm saying? So something else to think about too. Or maybe your family wants to walk with you while you walk your dog, right? Good way to get that going too, right? Some specific considerations for Thanksgiving. So in general, when we think about Thanksgiving, you know, people are getting together. There's a lot of food. There's napping. There's Thanksgiving parades, stuff like that. You know, Chris already said, hey, maybe people are trying to give your dogs food, and you got to tell them not to do that, right? Or maybe your dog loves food, like one of my dogs, and your dog is ready to grab a morsel when possible. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you got to keep your dog on spot during Thanksgiving, right? What are some things that you guys, when you think about a Thanksgiving type of setup, what are some things that you think about with dogs in that type of setup?
Yeah, I'd say definitely spot.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on. A lot of people moving around, grabbing food, talking, laughing, a lot of things happening. So definitely using spot for management, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, and then if it gets to the point to where it's like there's so much going on, again, just implement your management.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chris said, like we've said a few times. You can
Yeah.
go in the room, go in the kennel, relax, chill out for a bit, maybe come back out later once everything's settled down, football's on, I'm laying on the floor taking a nap, you know, that's when he can come back
The
out.
floor naps are the best.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know. You just got to know your dog. You know what I'm saying? Like with the food, people are gonna try to give your dog food. So if if that's a big no for you in your house, and that's a boundary or expectation you have, you've got to first clearly communicate that with your guests, right? Hey guys, if you give my dog food, he's gonna blow out everywhere the next day. Please don't do it, right? Or like my dogs are good to go. Like they'll take food from people, and for my personal situation, Vader used to get stressed when people come over. People give him food, makes him feel more comfortable about people coming over. So it kind of works to my advantage. They don't beg, they don't jump up on the counter, or they don't take food, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody drops some food, oh hey Vader, they call him over and he can eat it off the ground, right? It's a good thing for us. If that's not a good thing for you, you got to put that in place, right? So like again, it just comes down to know what's best for your dog, set clear expectations for your dog, and clear expectations for the people that you're going to have over, and that just applies across the board to all the holidays, I think.
You got to control them too, because people always know better, right?
yeah.
Hey, don't give my dog food. Oh, why? He's fine. I was like, it's my dog. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Like, that one always blows my mind. You know, but
he'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay, well you
shitting his
clean
brains
it up.
out.
Yeah.
Well, one good thing about eating a big meal after that, it's good to walk
Oh yeah.
for your
is.
digestion. Good for
Doesn't
your
feel
dogs
good
too.
to walk.
And you get a
sometimes.
break from the family.
You got to walk around bloated. Oh,
You guys wonder where the Tiptons taking their pants off at the campouts comes in. That's why the pants came off, was a little bloat action.
All right, Christmas specific considerations. When I think about Christmas, I think about Christmas morning in general, right? Kids getting up, families getting together,
Hooting,
presents, hooting and hollering, people stuffed into a room, right? Wrapping paper thrown about, toys with the kids thrown about. Guess who likes kid-type toys? Dogs. They like to chew them. They like to rip the stuffing out of them, so.
Mine like the wrapping paper.
The wrapping paper, too. So what are some Christmas-specific considerations for Christmas-type scenarios that you guys have in your brain, in your heads?
I mean, pretty much more of the same of what we've been talking about, but I might, like, if I'm doing that scenario where I'm going to sit down with my family, have breakfast, and we're doing Christmas morning, open the presents, all that kind of stuff, I'm probably going to get up a little bit earlier, maybe hang out with my dogs, walk them, my dogs are little. Vader's like 12 years old now. So
Here we go. You're
don't
being
need
soft.
nothing crazy.
I can't walk him because he's old.
I didn't say I can't. I don't need to take him like miles and miles like I used to, right? But like I'll work him and a little bit earlier than everybody, and by the time I come back in, coffee pot's ready to go, and everybody's getting up, or I'm having to wake everybody up. But then it's spot time, kennel, whatever I need to do to do our festivities.
And Christmas is the one day of the year that my wife is ready to get up.
All of a sudden, isn't that
every other day? I need more sleep. Christmas, what are we doing?
That's
One of my favorite traditions on Christmas is going to the gym at my normal time
because no one's there,
and no one
one's
being
there.
there and having the whole gym to myself. Except last year there was one other person there. I was pissed. I was like, "This is my time.
This is my gym on
Look
Christmas."
forward to this every year. I will say, like, for y'all, obviously, Christmas is a lot different. Because I think Christmas, like kids and screaming and games.
That's about
and
right.
It's a lot more interactive, I feel, than Thanksgiving, where it's like eat, sleep, football. Because I know, like, when we do our Christmas, like at Granny's, there's games, they're screaming, they want to play bingo, they're going into the night. I'm like, it's 11 o'clock.
I ain't doing that.
That's why the dog's also a good out, whether he's with you or he's not. So I bring my dog to like Thanksgiving at my mom's. So I'll be like, Dana's getting tired. We gotta head on out.
Good.
But at Christmas, it's like, I gotta feed him. I gotta take him on a walk. It's getting a little late.
That's a good point.
I just say I gotta go to bed, bro.
I just
I'm
don't.
the excuse.
I don't want to be here anymore, so I'm gonna. You can't do that one. You can't do that.
They caught on to my like Irish goodbyes. So like usually I could just slide out. Like I tell Granny bye, and I'm just like, But no, they catch on now.
Yeah. Where you going, Kevin?
Christmas for me, with the kids and all that, dogs on the spots, right? They're on their spots. Everything's chaotic in the house. Again, I'm doing my morning routine with the dogs before the Christmas stuff, then after the Christmas stuff again. And then I try to migrate outside as much as possible. I like being outside versus inside. But, again, if you're outside, the dogs can be roaming around more. There's more space, but in the house, it might be a little congested depending on the size of your house. So spot's going to be your go-to, for me at least, in that type of scenario.
My Christmas morning is, if I'm off work, get up, make breakfast, play Xbox. Good to go. It's nice and chill.
Normal day.
Dan is hanging out, sleeping on the
You
bed.
can come to the gym with me this year.
Hey, go to the gym 3 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning.
Exactly.
Actually, you probably go earlier, don't you? Because you get in the kennel
I get there around 4.
You might see Santa Claus heading home at that hour.
I see him driving off.
Chad's out here? What
what the hell's this guy doing?
He's like, oh, there's Chad.
Santa Claus is repping the 60 dumbbells, doing bicep curls.
He's about to put Chad to work next year. He's like, oh, you don't want to sleep? Come on.
Yeah.
New Year's. So what are some differences with New Year's and Christmas and Thanksgiving? Some specific considerations for New Year's.
Fireworks for sure. You got smoke your dog. Even like dogs that may not be super reactive to it and can acclimate quickly. When they first start happening, there's going to be levels of, nervousness. Mm-hmm. So definitely, like, I know on those days, New Year's, 4th of July, there's more exercise and more work than there normally would be just to provide that extra stimulation. Tired dog's an obedient dog. It's going to be a nice calm mindset. If your dog starts, displaying some behaviors that we don't want them to display, send them to spot. Mm-hmm. Let them kind of work through it. This is what I did with Lulu. Mm-hmm. And not spot up in the corner of a wall or up against the couch, like spot in the middle of your living room where it's open. They can just kind of hang out, work through it, realize nothing's going to happen, and just get nice and level.
Exactly. Yeah, so with the fireworks, whether it be New Year's or 4th of July, a lot of times you generally know when those are going to happen. Oh, yeah. But, of course, you got the random guys in the neighborhood just lighting them a couple days prior to.
The Tiptons. For 2 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
The guys who go blow all the money on it, because they'll get me some. Boom! I'm like,
yeah, that was my family. Yep.
So if you're going out, New Year's Eve. If you're going out New Year's Eve, work your dog during the day, smoke them. Leave them in the kennel while you go out, so they can just sleep. I mean,
that's like the highest numbers of dogs going missing just from escaping out of the house. People leaving their dogs in the backyard, digging out, jumping fences,
busting through windows.
Like, bro,
leave your dog in the kennel. Leave your dog in the house wherever you normally leave it. You know what I'm saying?
It also help contain the blowout if that's going to happen as well.
But get your dog, take some extra time during that day or even the day prior to start, like you would pre-hydrate if you have a big event coming up, or if you would pre-game back in the day. If you're in college, you might pre-game something. But
10 a.m. shower beers, let's go.
But you're going to prepare. You're going to pre-game the fireworks coming up, right? So the day before, maybe you do some extra exercise to already bring your dog's energy levels down lower because they do have to recover. And then before they can fully recover from that, the next day you already implement more exercise. So maybe use a treadmill, maybe you walk, maybe you play fetch, maybe use a combination of all of that, right? You keep them busy, right? Mentally, you do some more training scenarios more than you normally do. Maybe you start teaching some new stuff that you haven't done before, haven't done in a long time, right? And you're doing all this with the purpose of bringing that mental and physical energy to the lowest point possible, right? And then your dog should be prepared for the fireworks to start coming. But even at a lower energy state, your dog might still show stress or anxiety with the fireworks being there. So like Kevin said, if you're home, have them on a spot. Let them stay there. Don't coddle them. Don't pet them. Don't say, it's going to be okay. Just let them ride it out.
I got to get the Thunder shirt out of the closet, actually.
No Thunder
The closet
shirts.
that is their room. That's their nook that we let them go to.
Don't coddle them. Don't do all this extra stuff. Just let your dog get used to the fact that these things are going to be happening, right? Put them in the kennel if you use a kennel. If you're going to be gone, like Ben said, if you're going out, put them in the kennel, right, that they're already used to, already comfortable with. Let them ride that out, right? There's so many people that post on social media. They're cuddling their dog. They're in the closet with their dog. They got the Thunder shirts on there. They got 3 Thunder shirts on their dog. They got the special mask for their dog to cover the eyes. And, all this stuff is not going to work.
My favorite, please be considerate of the dog. No, people are going to have fun.
Right.
Okay?
You're in South Carolina. People are going to blow stuff up.
And you're bringing more stress on your dog by
yes.
throwing 3 Thundershirts and a eye blind or eye fold thing
Carrying
on it.
it
or
Right, because you're getting
coddling
stressed.
it. You're stressing.
You are stressed because of your
Right.
dog's stress. Your dog's just stressing because you're stressed. You're triggering the stress every
Right.
year when this comes around.
You're triggering it.
Yeah.
You're making it worse.
Right.
Right. And then you're getting all this energy pushed onto you're actually escalating the problem. You're making it worse every single time.
You dope them up with drugs.
The best thing, the worst thing is that, coddling, elevating the stress, and then doping them up with drugs. It's not going to help, right? And so the best thing you can do, you have healthy separation with your dog throughout the year.
all the time.
Right? All the time. It's just part of daily routine, having healthy separation, having your dog used to a kennel, right? Some people don't use a kennel, but your dog stays in a certain area of your house or whatever. If that's your setup, make sure that that's routine. That's what they're doing.
But again, even like the scenario you pitched with Disney World, like if I don't use a kennel regularly,
Right.
but if it's like, hey, I think this is probably going to be a tool that I might use. I know when these fireworks are coming, so
Right.
maybe a month or so before I'm going to break that kennel out, start getting them.
Get 'em used
it's
to it.
part of their
Yeah,
routine.
get 'em used to
So
it.
now when it's not like I just break out the kennel because that again can trigger
Right.
that, right?
Right.
You're like,
Right.
now the
Right.
kennel's a stressful place, you know, because
Right.
every time
Right.
they break it out, there's fireworks.
Right.
You're like, hey, it's just a normal thing that you do.
Right. And then when the fireworks are happening, you do all your exercise and stuff too, and then making sure your dog's at the lowest energy state possible. When the fireworks are happening, you got them on spot, you got them in a kennel, you're just letting them ride it out, and you're not coddling them, you're not showing extra attention. All that kind of stuff is not helping you. It's not helping your dog. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's not helping you. I'm telling you that, right?
Those guys don't know what they're talking
There's
about.
going to be some crazy comments after this one,
I mean,
but it is what it is.
Well, if you just look back and see how much the behavior has progressed over the years you spent with your dog if you're doing this.
Right. Has
This
your
is
dog
why.
has your dog ever overcome it or ever gotten better
Right.
with what you're doing? If not, you have to change what you're doing. Right? So it's at least worth giving the protocol a shot.
Because if you went from thunder shirt to allowing them to sit in the bathtub to now you have to dope them up with like 50 milligrams of trazodone,
Yeah.
it's been a progressive behavior, so it's not working.
Yeah.
But also understand like what we're saying is not an overnight thing, right? It's
Right.
not
Oh,
like
yeah.
because I feel like a lot of people, okay, I'll try the kennel. They put them in there, the dog's freaking shaking, and they just let
Right,
them
then
out.
you
of the
let 'em
kennel.
out, now
It
you
didn't
just
work.
made it worse.
Didn't
Or
work.
throw a blanket
Didn't work.
over it,
Yeah.
Right. So it's like the dog has to go through the stress.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to go through the duration of the event, the thunderstorm, the fireworks, whatever. The thing passes and goes away. The dog starts to level out and come down. Then we let them out of the kennel, and the dog, we survived. We didn't. Those fireworks didn't kill us. Right now, the next time it's less stressful,
Right.
and we stay consistent with that across the board, and they will start to, be more and more confident, more and more calm.
Well, just think about like us working through stress, right? Maybe not even fireworks, but just scenario in general, right? Like say the first time I flew, I landed at Chicago O'Hare. That is a stressful place, dude. I have no idea how
Chaos.
these gates work. I don't know how to read the maps. I don't know what's going on. I got to go 2 miles across the whole freaking airport. But as I was performing it, and when I flew back and I landed in there, now I'm a little better because now I know how it works, right? So it is something that's going to take time. Just
Repetition.
think of any scenario you've ever been stressed in, whether it be moving to a new home, moving to a new state, a new job, getting to know your surroundings, your people. This is the same thing that's happening with your dog, essentially. So it is going to take that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to go through it. You know what I'm saying? Work through it, figure it out. All right, closing thoughts. Anybody have any closing thoughts about dogs in the holidays or similar scenarios? I don't know if there's any other holidays that you guys are thinking of that are a little bit
I
different
mean, those
than
are
this.
those are the
Those
big ones.
Yeah.
I'll just say that a lot of people probably are thinking, hey, like I want to spend the holidays with my dogs. You guys are telling me I can't enjoy time with my dog during the holidays, during Christmas or whatever.
We're not
You
saying
can.
that.
Yeah.
We're not saying
You can.
You
It just has to
can.
be controlled.
You know.
Furthermore, your dog has no idea it's a holiday either.
Yeah.
So let's throw that
It's a
out there
normal
as
day
well.
to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's to you, it's more of a you thing, right? When I get it, you want to be with your, my dog is like the only thing in my life currently. I don't have kids and a wife and things like that. So yes, I want to spend
Well,
time
you got
with
us,
my dog.
boys.
Well, yeah. Y'all going to come over and do a sleepover?
Coming over to check out your village. You better have some cookies there too.
I'll call Aunt Debbie, get them molasses cookies. But your dog can be in your life, and you can do things with them. We're just saying that you should implement some management, some control, and then do what's best for them. If it's going to be too chaotic, they're perfectly fine being separate from you for that time. When you come home, y'all can come do your Christmas thing. Put on the matching pajamas, sit in front of the tree, take the pictures, whatever. That could be a y'all thing. So
Yeah,
But
I'm not,
all-
yeah, go ahead.
But also have the realization that it's not always the healthiest thing for your dog to always 100% of the time be with you. It is healthy to be away from each other. I love my wife. We have healthy separations.
Kelly, turn it off right now, Kelly. Turn it off.
I love being with my wife, but I don't know if it's healthy for us to be with each other 100% of the time. Somebody's going to get a roundhouse kick, and it's going to be me, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is coming up in court later.
Dwight has taught Kelly a couple things.
Yeah, I know. She's used it on me, and it hurts.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's like we all need healthy separations. You know what I'm saying? Even our dogs. So it's not that it's like we're not saying, hey, not to have spend the holidays with your dog, but understand what is best for your dog, understand what's best for you, and implement it. Come up with a game plan and attack it. And if you're not, if what you are doing is causing the issues to get worse or not get better, we got to change what we're doing and to make it get better. You know what I'm saying?
Have a healthy relationship. Have healthy separation. Your dog shouldn't be the center of attention, but your dog should be included in what you can do as much as possible with healthy separation included in it, right? That could be being in a spot at the other side of the room and not getting all the attention in the room, right? It could be being in a kennel at your house while you go visit with your family, right? So those types of things. Having that healthy separation, that healthy balance of relationship is going to be critical, because if your dog's used to getting all your attention, being with you all the time, that's going to be a recipe for an unbalanced relationship. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to stress you out and your dog out if you're out of that routine for whatever reason. So prep your dog for that. But we're not saying to not include your dogs in the holidays. Everything we're saying is including your dogs in the holidays. Get your dog the thing you want to get it for Christmas if you want to. Yeah. I'll get my dog bully sticks, whatever. I get him bully sticks anyway. Whether it's Christmas or not. Yeah. Get your dog those stuffed toys if you want to. They're going to rip it apart in 2 seconds and then it'll be gone.
It's a good time.
If you want to do that, do that. Let your dogs play with the wrapping paper. Do that. Whatever. Let them chase squirrels. Whatever. Include them in your holidays. That's why we have dogs, to be included in our families and included in what we do. But it has to be a healthy, balanced relationship. So if there's things that stress your dogs out, overcrowded spaces, right? Other dogs that are trying to dominate them, for example, these types of things, you got to take that into account. You got to manage the environment, have some structure, implement protocol, right? And include everybody together, but everybody has their own structure, management protocols, so far and so forth, to make everything as balanced as possible throughout the whole holiday season, but also just life in general. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the things we talk about, we're doing every day. Spot time, kennel time, exercise, training, right? So your dog should be flexible as you go through your life with this type of structure implemented. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking in reference to dogs that have this training already, right? We haven't talked about dogs that have no training. So if you don't have training,
get training.
You need to get training. You can do this at home.
Some form of management.
Go to our YouTube channel, Canine Revolution Dog Training, and look up videos and do some of the stuff at your house, right? Do engagement with your dog. Teach your dog to walk on a loose leash so you can enjoy your walks and not be stressed out on your walks. Teach your dog how to do a spot command. You can do this relatively simply with your dog, right? You can go to our YouTube, you can find a video, and you can start doing it. Do a downstay, right? Do a come command. We've done videos on how to let your dog be a dog. Let them walk out on a trail and just call them back to you when you need to. So implement training with your dog. You don't have to go through a formal training program, but if you want to, give us a call at Canine Revolution Dog Training. But you can do this stuff at your house yourself. Implement structure, implement training. It's going to pay off in the long run. It's going to give you more flexibility and be able to go through life and enjoy life with your dog instead of it being a hassle. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I do just want to mention real quick that Pack Talk Podcast is sponsored by Canine Revolution Dog Training, right? So we are here to help you achieve the life you want to achieve with your dog. We're here to help you enhance your relationship with your dog. So you can hit us up on email or phone. You can hit us in the links in the description below if you're watching this on a podcast platform or YouTube, right? And reach out to us. We're training dogs all over the country. Lexi just finished a dog from Ohio recently. Chris has a dog from Massachusetts, right? Currently, right? We've got people we're talking to from California right now. We've trained dogs from Texas, California, Washington State. We are located in South Carolina. We can arrange travel to get your dog here. We'll train it, and then we'll arrange support for you after. So we will support you no matter where you're at. If you just need to consult with us on the phone, we'll get on the phone with you and consult with you, and we can recommend a local trainer to you. We're here to support you and your dog. So Canine Revolution Dog Training for all of your dog training needs and support. Social media. We've got Canine Revolution Dog Training on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We try to pump out information that is going to help you and your dog. So check those out. We've also got personal social media accounts. I'm Chad.Singer13. Kevin is Hellbilly Heathen on Instagram. Ben is Big Boy Jabba on Instagram. Chris is Tipton C1 on Instagram. And Lexi is Lexi Ryan on Instagram. Right, so you can check us out. You can follow us personally. Some stuff we post is dog related. Some is chicken related. Some
is just off the wall,
random.
crazy stuff.
There's one guy here posting chicken related.
1.5.
So we got that. You guys can follow us. You can follow Canine Revolution Dog Training, right? And then another thing worth mentioning is America. We're trying to support America. Right, and one of the ways we're doing that is by supporting Origin USA and Jocko Fuel.
I rocked my Origin jeans all weekend because it was cold.
And they're comfortable.
Right now.
They are very
They're
comfortable.
And so Origin USA is making products that are sourced in America and made in America. And Jocko Fuel, same thing, sourced in America, made in America, good for you. So you can go to originmaine.com. You can use the promo code SINGER101 for 10% off. You can support America and get things that are going to help you be victorious in life.
They got new hunting gear. It's nice.
Already got it.
It's
Good
nice.
You did wear it on Sunday.
I did.
It was nice.
It's real nice.
Yeah. You were kind of blended in with
You
the woods. I lost you there for a
couldn't see
minute.
me.
And then also, if you want to support the podcast, something else you can do, you could go to the links below and go to Amazon and grab you a Good to Go shirt. And Lexi has the Good to Go hoodie on right now if you're watching the video.
It's good to go.
It's good to go. And you'll be good to go if you get it, and you'll be supporting the podcast. So just a little plug for that kind of stuff. But again, we appreciate you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Please let us know what you want more podcasts on in the future, right? We've done a variety of things in our past episodes. We're incorporating back more dog training episodes. Kevin's telling me we need to remake a couple episodes. He knows what I'm talking about. But we'll be a wide variety of topics. But please, we like your feedback. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know who you want us to interview. Let us know what topics you want. And until next time.